You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Sean Reynolds, the owner of Summit Properties Northwest, Reynolds and Kline Appraisal, and more importantly, your host of this episode of the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. What are we talking about today? We are talking about some corporate tomfoolery. We are talking about Houston billionaire charged with the biggest tax evasion case in U.S. history. That's what the feds are telling us. Feds never lie. They always tell the truth. Let's check it out. This is an article that I found confirmed with a bunch of other news sources. It's from Kline. I don't know a lot about Kline. Could be crazy news source, but I'm going to go with it because I've kind of checked through all the information. Let's run with it. Feds didn't mince words when they leveled charges against Houston billionaire Robert Brockman, who is accused of taking $2 billion through an elaborate scheme. Prosecutors call it the biggest case of tax evasion of its kind in American history against a single individual, so according to the U.S. Justice Department. $2 billion. How in the world do you expect to be able to hide a scheme of $2 billion? What is crazy to me is that this wasn't a quick scheme. This is over years and years and years. I mean, there are some really crafty people in on this scheme, because how many people are necessary to hide a $2 billion, not 2 million, 2 billion. So 2,000 million. That's a really obvious statement, but that's how big it is. It's enormous. $2 billion. Complexity will not hide crime from law enforcement, U.S. Attorney Dave Anderson said at a Thursday press conference announcing the charges. We will not hesitate to prosecute the smartest guys in the room. But this is after they catch him. I mean, we got to admit, they're always running around chasing somebody, trying to catch somebody, and it's tough to do, especially the more sophisticated they are. But $2 billion, that's a tough one. That is a stretch at best. Can you imagine? I mean, how much other crime white-collar crime is going on out there that never gets caught? Probably an awful lot. So let's keep reading though. Brockman is the CEO of a software company, was charged in a 39-count indictment. I'm going to go 39 counts. That's a lot. They are really loading up the gun with 39 count. That includes charges of money laundering, conspiracy, wire fraud, and tax evasion. That's according to the U.S. Justice Department. The extensive 42-page indictment, unsealed Thursday morning, states that Brockman created companies in the British Virgin Islands and allegedly used them to hide assets from the IRS. Innocent until proven guilty, unless you look so bad in the media that you're basically guilty. It's like, you're on a one-way freight train to guilty. That's what's going on. So it'll be interesting to follow this case and see what his attorneys come up with. Are they gonna weasel out somehow? Are they gonna come up with technicalities on a 39-count indictment? Oh, this is all legal. This is totally legit. We're waiting for our day in court. We will exonerate our client, and we will go after the bad people who have put our guy in a bad light. Is that what's going to happen? I mean, that's usually what you do, because that's kind of your first salvo if you're a defense attorney. Our client is innocent until proven guilty. We look forward to our day in court. That's what you do, right? In the indictment, prosecutors allege that Brockman's scheme was decades long, covering a 20-year period. Man, that's wild. Charges also include allegations that between 2008 and 2010, Brockman reportedly bilked investors out of nearly $68 million. How do you bilk somebody out of $68 million 12 years ago and 10 years ago, and it doesn't become a big deal? Is this guy that slick that it's taken this long, or does everybody know that this $68 million is just a tiny, small piece of the pie? We're going to go for the whole enchilada. We're going to go for the whole meal deal, supersized McDonald's meal deal. We're going to try and get that $2 billion. The Fed's case against Brockman was further supported by another billionaire, Robert F. Smith. According to prosecutors, Smith assisted Brockman in hiding his profits earned through Smith's company, Vista Equity Partners, via offshore accounts. Oh, this is getting juicy. No scheme is too complex or sophisticated for our investigators, Chief IRS Criminal Investigation Jim Lee said. Those hiding income or assets offshore are encouraged to come forward and voluntarily disclose their holdings. Let me read that again. Those hiding income or assets offshore are encouraged to come forward and voluntarily disclose their holdings. It's like if you're a drug dealer or a pimp or a prostitute, whatever it is that's illegal, but the IRS gives you a section in the tax code that you can disclose your earnings. How many people are going to do that? Yep, I'm a national-sized drug dealer, and yet I want to disclose my income because I don't want to go to jail for evading taxes. No, don't want to do that. I want to alert the authorities that what I'm doing is illegal. However, tax evasion, that's a no-go for me. Killing people with the product I sell, okay with that. Tax evasion, me going to jail for that, not okay. Got to draw the line somewhere. So the IRS, in their infinite wisdom, has given people the ability to report income from employee income sources like these. That's what's happening. According to the allegations in the indictment, Brockman's scheme was comprised of a tangled web of offshore entities. Brockman allegedly directed untaxed capital gains income to secret bank accounts in Bermuda and Switzerland, according to the indictment. Bermuda and Switzerland. What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Gene Hackman? Oh, The Firm. That was a good one. And they would take a trip to Cayman Islands, I think it was, and work on some company business and basically just have a lot of fun that they shouldn't be having. Check on company stuff. That's what I envision happening here. Going to Bermuda and Switzerland. What are you doing? Just got to go check on some company business and in Switzerland, and or got to take a trip on the company yacht in Bermuda. I just got to check it out. We've got urgent stuff in Bermuda. Prosecutors said that he created code words on encrypted emails in an attempt to hide his assets overseas. Let me read that again. Prosecutors said he created code words on encrypted emails in an attempt to hide his assets overseas. This is getting to some spy stuff. Code words, assets overseas, Bermuda, Switzerland, the intrigue. According to the indictment, Brockman's code word was permit, and the IRS was called the house. Wild. He assigned other certain names with fish-themed code names, including redfish, king, bonefish, snapper, or my favorite, steelhead. Steelhead, Pacific Northwest. Redfish, king, bonefish, snapper, or steelhead. That's awesome. Or permit. How do you come up with this stuff? I need a good code word. Nobody is going to think that I call the IRS the house. We're going to go with that. We're just going to run with that. Because after reading the house in the context of the email, which gets unencrypted multiple times, people probably figure that out. And I think that's what happens. And they seize this guy's emails because guess what? Everything you do gets tracked now. Everything. Doesn't matter what it is. People are like, oh, I'm really concerned about my privacy. What privacy? You don't have any. That's the bottom line. If you do anything online, it's all out there. It's all out there. 100%. Brockman currently lives in Houston and Pitkin County, Colorado. It's funny when they give two cities because the guy's got more than one house. The rest of us, we all have one house. And his estimated net worth is $1 billion. Not anymore. Not anymore. According to the U.S. Justice Department, federal prosecutors argued that Brockman's access to a private jet in Houston currently makes him a flight risk. Yeah, how easy would that be? You know what? Things are getting a little hot here. Things are getting a little tricky. I feel some heat coming down. Fire up that jet. Get my full crew. We are going to, we got to go check on company business in Bermuda and then Switzerland. And then we got to go find a cave to hide in somewhere in South America till this bad boy blows over. Unfortunately, this guy's like 79. He's not gonna live through most of this stress. This is him pretty much being over. If he goes to jail, not gonna live very long. But It's what you get when you don't play on the right side of the road, right? You get indicted, tax evasion. On Thursday morning, Brockman pleaded not guilty on all counts and was released on $1 million bond. I'm surprised they released him, but he is 79. It's not like he's going to go on the lam for the next 30 years. That would put him at 109. That's not happening either, right? We look forward to defending him against these charges, Catherine Kennelly, Brockman's lawyer, said in a statement to Wall Street Journal's Dave Michaels and 𝑬𝒔𝒕𝒕𝒍𝒆. We look forward to defending him against these charges. Do they really look forward to it? I mean, it's their job, and they're going to get paid for it, but they got to say something nice, because otherwise you just kind of look like a jackass. And who wants, use my legal services, I'm a jackass. I make fun of all this stuff because I think it's so easy to make fun of. It's all such easy targets, but $2 billion, that is a monstrous case. That's why I'm covering it here on the Real Estate Podcast, Seattle Real Estate Podcast, because it's business. And it's one of those things where I think people need to realize that, yep, you can go down some pretty crazy roads and you might get away with it. This guy got away with it for 20 years. He's 79. He started doing, we don't know how long he's been doing shenanigans, but did he start when he was 59? I'm 51. In 8 years from now, am I going to start going down a road of, all right, I've been on the straight and narrow all these years. I've paid my taxes. I don't have anything to hide. I'm 59. Call it how many years outside of retirement. I'm going to start hiding money. I'm going to go down this road because I understand crime pays. No, you've probably been doing that your whole life. There is probably the 20-year period they're talking about. That is what they can pin on him, because they know that there's stuff way beyond that. If you're doing this, if you're getting caught at 79, you've been doing this for a long, long time. That is your style. That's what you do. I'd rather be able to sleep at night. I don't know how guys like this can sleep at night. Now, he is innocent until proven guilty. That is the case, but let's be honest. The 39-count indictment, and they're calling up to $2 billion, $68 million to investors. That's a big one. That's a monstrous one. This one will be an interesting one to follow. I enjoy following these cases just from how did those guys do it? What are the mechanics? What are the mechanics of their business where they are able to fraud the U.S. government out of such a large, large amount, and the rest of us are trying to use as many things as we can within our legal limits to lighten our tax load. Everybody does that. Who wants to pay a bunch of taxes? That is not the end goal. But you want to stay out of jail. You need to stay in compliance. So be smart about it, but don't give away the house. And the house, in this case, is the IRS, right? IRS. What was it? Snapper and Steelhead and that's some craziness. But as this case evolves, last time I said devolve regarding Seattle Police Department losing 118 police officers this year. I said devolve. As this case evolves, because I believe we're going to get some really good insight onto how this kind of case happens and what are the actual mechanics of a $2 billion deal like this that has gone sideways for a guy who is 79. Let's follow it, because that to me is interesting. It's like, what are the other guys doing who maybe aren't going down the same road I am? Learn from it. Don't go to jail. Pay your taxes. Take as many legal things as you can to limit your tax liability, but don't step over that line, because you know what? You're probably going to get caught. And I sleep better at night knowing I'm not going to go to jail. I'm not going to go to jail for that. That's not in my cards today. And in 8 years, I'm not going to start going, you know what? Crime does pay? Yeah, I think we do that. No, but we're going to talk about it here in the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. We're going to talk about it because it's interesting and it's kind of fun to follow. Somebody else's train wreck. That's what we're talking about. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'm Sean Reynolds from Summit Properties Northwest and Reynolds and Kline Appraisal. I will see you on the next podcast. Until then, have a good one. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.